This week on ANN, ADRA's Birds and Bees project helps children in India make smart choices about health and lifestyle.
Adventist professors and students in Mexico assist those in need.
And later, Global Youth Day is finished, but the spirit lives on. We'll show you how you can participate.
These stories and more coming up.
Thank you so much for joining us this week.
The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA in India, with support from Reckitt Benckiser, a consumer goods company and producer of health, hygiene, and home products, is set to launch a 2-year program for 10 to 19-year-olds called The Birds and Bees Talk.
Program Director for ADRA India, Rajan Pidamalia, said the purpose of the program was to help young people making decisions about their health and other life skills.
Pidamalia says ADRA helps people in need, especially those most vulnerable, such as women, older adults, and minority communities. Children are no exception. Having open conversations through the Birds and Bees Talk program allows young people to ask questions, understand what life outcomes will mean based on decisions they make, and take appropriate actions as they get older.
The program is comprised of 27 courses with an innovative and engaging curriculum designed to address the information gap around young people's reproductive and sexual health and rights, and provide them with a comprehensive life skills module that addresses power, protection, and pleasure.
To gain community support, ADRA and RB organized a bike rally in collaboration with Royal Motors Group in Imphal, Manipur, with more than 50 cyclists participating.
Riders wore a royal blue t-shirt with the Birds and Bees Talk logo and rode nearly 68 miles from Imphal east to Bishnapur to highlight the importance of decision-making, consent, and life skills for adolescents.
Government officials, including the Minister of Water Resources, Youth Affairs and Sports, and the Deputy Secretary of Reverse and Disaster Management, were present to start the bike rally. Other dignitaries also attended the event and praised RB and ADRA for their concerted efforts to reach adolescents in the state.
Country Director for ADRA India, Weston Davis, says, "This partnership is about educating adolescents, youth about their bodies, about their health and well-being, and taking on accountability for their lives. We are grateful to the teachers, the community leaders, and the government leaders who have supported this program. We are especially grateful to RB, who has had such an integral part in making this event happen."
For more than 6 months, dozens of the most disadvantaged families in the Martinez Dominguez Community, Montemorelos, Nuevo Leon, Mexico, have been receiving free medical attention, food baskets, and basic necessities thanks to a group of students and health professionals from Montemorelos University. Because of the pandemic, millions of families began to face economic difficulties as well as physical and mental health issues, including those in the Martinez Dominguez community. The Martinez Dominguez community has been receiving help since 2019, but challenges became more difficult during the pandemic. Only a handful of health professionals and 5 students who were completing their social service in medicine, psychology, physical and rehabilitation therapy were available to assist the needy community. Classes have continued online ever since the university transitioned into virtual learning back in March of 2020. People in the Martinez Dominguez community received psychological services, general medical consultations, and basic physical therapy. More than 100 persons received medical attention, and more than 250 families received food boxes. Since 2017, funding for the Martinez Dominguez Community Project has been provided by the Adventist Health White Memorial Medical Center in Los Angeles, California, United States. Logistical expertise and resources have been provided by the Health Promoting University program at Montemorelos University.
As we announced last week, the Seventh-day Adventist Church and Hope Channel have partnered together to develop Heroes 2, the Bible trivia game. The game was published last week on March 25, approximately 8 years after the original version of Heroes. Players progress chronologically through the game by answering increasingly difficult questions about 12 of the most prominent champions of faith in Scripture, from Adam and Eve to the Apostle John. Vice President of Hope Channel, Vyacheslav Damian, says, Heroes 2 is the first game published by a Christian broadcasting network, and we hope this innovation will lead many people to have a relationship with Jesus. The game is currently available in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese, with 6 more language availabilities pending. Another exciting feature of the Heroes 2 game is that every player will be encouraged to start Bible studies through the Hope Channel. Called The Big Questions, this special Bible study series is online at hopebiblestudy.org and will help answer questions like, what happens when you die? Or, is God real? If God is good, why do we suffer? And many other tough questions. You can learn more at heroesbibletrivia.org. Heroes 2 is also available for download on both iOS and Android mobile platforms.
AdventHealth's COVID-19 vaccine task force has helped a 19-year-old with an extremely rare medical diagnosis get vaccinated and protected against the virus. Only a handful of people with her condition made it to adulthood, and the vaccine is the best glimmer of hope she has to continue living safely. AdventHealth's West Florida Division reports.
19-year-old Sarah Sizemore hasn't been out of her home since the COVID-19 pandemic began. That's because she has a rare genetic disorder called MCAP.
COVID has changed our entire family's life. We've made a lot of sacrifices to protect her and to keep her safe.
Jessica Wilhelmini is Sarah's sister and caregiver. She says Sarah is one of only 300 people in the world who have MCAP and one of only 12 to make it to adulthood. And now Sarah needs brain surgery to survive, but she's considered very high risk for COVID-19.
We felt a lot of panic and a lot of anxiety because Sarah actually needs a brain surgery. And so we've been holding out, just trying to help her get protected from COVID so that she can safely move forward and have these medical procedures that are absolutely necessary for her.
Sarah's doctors recommended she receive both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine before her surgery, and our vaccine task force went to work to make that happen.
It's incredibly humbling. I'm honored to be a part of this experience, and in Sarah's case, you know, I see her as if my daughter was going through this, that I would want the best for her, and this vaccine is the best glimpse of hope that she has to continue living as healthy and as safe as possible.
Jessica says she and her family are so grateful for the opportunity to keep Sarah safe.
Being here today is like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. We have so much hope and so much gratitude, and we are so grateful to be able to be here to get this vaccine. We won't be going to the grocery stores or anything like that yet, but we definitely will be following up with medical care and procedures, and that means everything to us. Can you say thank you for the shot?
Thank you, shot.
Thank you, and?
Okay.
You're feeling okay. You're happy.
Sarah is scheduled for surgery next month. For Advent Health, I'm Rochelle Haynes.
Earlier this year, Faith Rivera, a young adult at Younger Generation Church, or YG, in Arlington, Texas, recently pitched the idea of offering Valentine's appreciation gifts to all the frontline workers at Texas Health Mansfield, a joint venture between Texas Health and Advent Health.
With help from students at Burton Adventist Academy, YG collected personal, heartfelt notes and letters from students thanking frontline workers for all they do to keep others safe and healthy.
The notes were added to a collection of goodies, including warm drinks, sweets, and Krispy Kreme donuts for the hospital employees.
The February snow and ice storms temporarily postponed YG's efforts, but they arrived the following week at Texas Health Mansfield and went from floor to floor, unit to unit, sharing their gratitude.
The young adult team from YG was greeted with warm smiles from ecstatic workers who were grateful to receive the gifts. Many joyful smiles and thank yous were shared as the group toured the hospital and shared some tender loving care with the healthcare employees.
Coming up, young people from around the world celebrated Global Youth Day on March 20.
Today, we'll bring you a short recap and share how you can see even more exciting stories from around the globe.
We may look, pray, read, think, worship, sing, and share differently, but we all look forward to the Sabbath. And we all look forward to the future when Jesus will come again. With this message in mind, we arrived at a core component for a new identity system: the creation grid, a simple 7-column structure for layout. The grid is a reference both to the prophetic timeline as well as to the creation week that culminated in the 7th-day Sabbath. Regardless of what or where you are designing, you can always find information to help you communicate that we are all Seventh-day Adventists.
Welcome back.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church recently wrapped up Global Youth Day on March 20.
Global Youth Day began in 2013 as an initiative of the Youth Ministries Department of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
During that inaugural event, only 12 service projects were organized worldwide. Over the past 8 years, thousands of young people have come together and produced hundreds of creative service projects in local communities.
Those involved with GYD say that the spirit of the day, where young people step out of their churches to be the sermon in their communities, should live on during the year.
And while you may have missed Global Youth Day this year, Hope Channel will air a special 1-hour recap this Sabbath, April 3rd, that will show you how young people all over the world reach out to their communities. Here's just a small taste.
Hello! Welcome to our 2021 Global Youth Day recap. My name is Ulun.
And my name is Mwenyam Pundu. On March 20th, young people from across the globe came together to be the sermon in their communities.
That's right! Mwenya and I were here during 4 live broadcasts sharing what was going on.
What is Global Youth Day? Global Youth Day, or as we may call it, GYD, began in 2013 as an initiative for Youth Ministries Department of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yes, during that inaugural event, only 12 service projects were organized worldwide. Over the past 8 years, GYD has grown by leaps and bounds, touching thousands of young people and producing hundreds of creative service projects in local communities.
Global Youth Day, fighting!
When you were thinking about starting that Instagram page, I know it was specifically for sharing Jesus and God, but were you nervous about initially starting?
Definitely, I was really nervous. And then I was so nervous and I was so fearful that I was like, people are not going to understand it. They're going to reject me. So let me start a separate, specific separate channel for my ministry or just for sharing the gospel, because then people who are only interested in that will come to that. So that unfortunately actually did come out of a nervousness or out of a fear. I've kind of like now gone back to integrate it because I was just like, you know what, this is who I am and I just have to share that.
When you are faced with somebody, a different culture, a different person who's doing something that you have not been doing, that goes against your beliefs, I want you to choose care over condemnation. Choose care over putting them down. Why? For a few reasons. Because every single person is made in the image of God. Every single person is made in the image of God because God created them. Number two, everybody's doing their best to survive and live according to their own worldviews. And number three, everybody is going through a battle that you have no idea about. You are going through battles. You are going through struggles that other people don't know about. So how much more should we lead with compassion? How much more should we lead with care?
Samson prayed with faith one last prayer to redeem weary but still.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so good to me.
We have worked with an international team to develop Heroes 2, a new Bible trivia game that I am sure you will enjoy. Most importantly, you all learn about the Bible while playing. In this game, you will answer questions about Bible heroes. And the more experience points you collect, the more you unlock new heroes like Noah, Joseph, Jesus, Ruth, John. These are just a few of the 12 heroes who will challenge you. The website is heroesbibletrivia.org.
If you want to see even more ways young people went out to be the sermon, check out the Youth Ministries Facebook page at facebook.com/GC Youth Ministries.
And don't forget to check out their program on April 3 on Hope Channel. Check your local listings at hopetv.org.
Coming up, David Trim is here with This Week in Adventist History.
But up next, Adventist Mission shares the story of how a little boy experienced a miracle in Mexico.
When I first felt called to be a minister, I didn't want to be a typical pastor with a suit and a tie. One of the things I appreciated most about Christ was his ability to defy convention. Once, when I moved away from a place where I was pastoring, one of my friends said, "We're going to miss you. You're so unusual." I take that as a compliment. I'm someone who likes a challenge. I love to test my limits. I've been running for more than 35 years, most days of the week. I love to run, especially in nature. It's time alone with God where I can recharge. I run first thing in the morning so I can prepare emotionally and spiritually for whatever I might experience that day. I find my greatest fulfillment in relating to people who aren't Adventist or even Christian. We have to meet people where they are. That's what Jesus did, and it's still our responsibility today. I have friends who are Christians and atheists, gay and straight, old and young, of all races and ethnicities. I'm a biker, a runner, and a pastor. I'm extremely blessed. My name is Stephen Chavez, and this is my whole life.
Welcome back.
When Uriel was 11, a doctor told him he had to have surgery to remove a brain tumor and fix his legs.
But when the doctor checked him right before the surgery, his legs were fine and the tumor was gone.
Adventist Mission has more.
Little boys love to run and play. Uriel wanted to be like the other boys, but he couldn't run. He could barely even walk. Growing up in Mexico, Uriel had been sick since he was a little boy. It seemed like nothing was working right. He had hyperthyroidism and a brain tumor, and now even walking was hard. These health complications had affected his life in drastic ways. When he was 11 years old, the doctor decided that Uriel needed a surgery to remove the brain tumor and to fix his legs. Uriel's grandmother believed in the power of prayer and convinced his mom that they needed to go to prayer meeting at the church the night before the surgery. The next morning, the doctor checked Uriel's legs one last time before the surgery. He was shocked to discover that Uriel's legs were completely fine. Then the doctor ordered a brain scan, and the tumor was gone. God had healed Uriel. Now he could run and play soccer with the other kids. After this miracle, Uriel and his mom gave their hearts to Jesus and joined an Adventist church. Uriel even gave Bible studies and preached. 5 people were baptized because of his Bible studies. I want people everywhere to know that nothing is impossible for God, Uriel says. God is definitely doing the impossible for Uriel and others who live in the Inter-American region, which spans from Mexico in the north to Guyana in the south. In the past 5 years, God has used church workers and lay members to plant nearly 3,000 new Seventh-day Adventist churches in this vast territory. The church has also started at least 11 urban centers of influence in the region. These centers follow Christ's example of mingling with people and meeting their physical and spiritual needs. For example, a lay member established a center in Guatemala to rehabilitate and bring hope to people struggling with drug and alcohol addictions. Many have overcome addiction by seeking treatment at the center and getting to know Jesus, and 1,500 have been baptized. 3 other countries in the region have established centers of influence to minister to immigrants from a specific Asian ethnic group. Church members mingle with them and share the love of Jesus by teaching Spanish classes, playing ping pong, counseling, and offering Bible studies. In fact, a church was planted especially for this ethnic community. As God's work goes forward with power in the Inter-American region, we see that truly nothing is impossible for God. When church members pray together and share the gospel, miracles happen and lives are changed. Just ask Uriel. Thank you for your prayers and financial support of the mission offering around the world.
Watch this and other mission stories online by visiting AdventistMission.org, then click on videos at the top.
And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we hear about mission organization and growth in the Melanesian island region of the South Pacific.
Welcome to This Week in Seventh-day Adventist History. On March 29, 1918, the 39th General Conference session convened in San Francisco on the United States West Coast. This session was particularly significant in our history because it was the first regular session to be postponed. At that time, sessions were held every 4 years, and the previous session had been held in 1913. But the state of the world in 1917, with World War I raging, meant that few delegates from outside North America could have attended, and so church leaders decided to postpone a year. As it turned out, the war was still ongoing in the spring of 1918, but the circumstances were somewhat more favorable for travel, and so the session convened with 434 delegates 93 years ago this week. The session met for 17 days, concluding on April 14. All 3 executive officers, President Arthur Daniels, Secretary William Spicer, and Treasurer Walter Knox, were re-elected. As it turned out, 3 sessions were to be postponed in the following 20 years because of the Great Depression and World War II. And of course, last year, our 4th, the 2020 session, was postponed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. On April 1st, 1972, the Papua New Guinea Union Mission came into operation. The Union then had 36,000 members in 285 local churches. At the end of 2020, the Union reported a membership of 900,000 in 8,230 local churches. Now, the creation of that new union was part of a wider reorganization of Adventist mission work in the Melanesian region of the South Pacific. As a part of that reorganization, the New Hebrides mission was separated from New Guinea and became part of the Western Pacific Union mission. Now, back in 1972, the Franco-British colony of the New Hebrides had 28 Seventh-day Adventist churches with 2,800 members. Today, the independent nation of Vanuatu, as it has become, is a mission in the Trans-Pacific Union mission, and at the end of 2020, there were 215 local churches and a membership of 26,838 in the Vanuatu mission. In both Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu, there has been tenfold growth in those 48 years. Something to be grateful for this week in Adventist history.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Did you know that Adventist Church has a YouTube channel where you can watch ANN Video, ANN In-Depth, and plenty of other amazing videos on prophecy, health, and Bible study?
Just go to YouTube and search for the Adventist Church. Click the subscribe button to make sure you're caught up each week.
And remember, leave a comment or a prayer request. People are praying for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Before we say goodbye, here's some good news from the book of Joel, chapter 2, verses 28 and 29.
The passage says, "And afterward I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. Even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my spirit in those days."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit Adventist.news for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.